Georgia's insurance commissioner, indicted on more than 30 counts by a federal grand jury. Good evening, I'm Russ Spencer.
And I'm Sine Simpson. Jim Beck was just elected in November, and now he faces charges of wire fraud, mail fraud, and money laundering. Fox 5 was first to break news of the indictment this afternoon.
Now, the I-Team's Dale Russell has been ahead of this story for months and joins us now live with more details. Dale?
Russ, it was a stunning 14-page, 38-count indictment, complete with a cast of unnamed characters, a host of bogus companies, all at the direction of, according to the indictment, the sitting Republican insurance commissioner, Jim Beck. Longtime state employee Jim Beck burst onto the political scene last fall.
What are you wearing, Jim Beck?
With creative TV ads for insurance commissioner.
And I'll protect all consumers.
And a vow to protect consumers from insurance fraud. But now a federal grand jury has indicted Jim Beck just 4 months after he was sworn into office as Georgia's insurance commissioner. U.S. Attorney BJay Pak.
The grand jury alleges that Mr. Beck stole more than $2 million from his former employer, the Georgia Underwriting Association, through an elaborate invoicing scheme.
The indictment states that in 2013, Beck became general manager of the state-created but private insurance company, Georgia Underwriting Association, or GUA. The 38-count indictment accuses Beck of setting up 4 companies with 4 friends and then fraudulently billing GUA for over $2 million.
Evidence established that Beck abused the trust of friends and his employer, GUA, in an elaborate scheme to enrich himself at GUA's expense.
Last February, we began examining Jim Beck's work history as a state employee. We found it wasn't always easy. Can you just tell me why you took the... Well, that was uncalled for. Our investigation found in 2012, when Beck took over as general manager of the state-created insurance company, Georgia Underwriting Association, he also took a full-time state job as a victim witness advocate for a district attorney's office in West Georgia.
How could you work for both at the same time?
It's just important to have the availability of insurance.
That wasn't the only time Beck held 2 jobs at once. Earlier in 2005, we found Beck was lobbying state legislators for a private company, Nationwide Insurance, while working full-time at a state agency, the Department of Community Affairs. That lasted 4 months. Beck insists he was only a consultant for the state. So you're saying you weren't working full-time?
I'm saying that I'm done talking to him.
U.S. Attorney BJay Pak would not comment about our earlier report, but he would talk about what the grand jury alleges Jim Beck did with the money. The grand jury states that Beck used the money to pay taxes, his credit card bills, fund his retirement accounts, buy property, and even contribute money to his own campaign when he ran to become insurance commissioner. What's the worst part about this to you?
How long it went on? I think that the fact that the fraud was going on for 5 years and involved individuals who were associates of Mr. Beck, as the grand jury has alleged, I think that surprised me the most.
And the grand jury also alleged that some of that money went to the Georgia Christian Coalition, which Beck controls. We talked to a volunteer there who said they were disappointed and stunned. GUA said basically no comment, but they pointed out they cooperated with the FBI and no current employees or officers were involved in this scheme. As for Mr. Beck himself, through his attorney Bill Thomas, he has strongly denied these charges and vigorously says he will defend them. He has until noon tomorrow to turn himself in. So what happens then? Well, this is a copy of the Georgia Constitution. The governor of the state of Georgia could appoint a 3-person panel to have Mr. Beck suspended during the time that he is fighting this case in court. But the question is this, and it's never easy when it comes down to the law. The law says it has to be a grand jury indictment that relates to the performance or activities of the office of the elected official. So the question is, all these activities took place before Jim Beck was elected. So can the governor put together a 3-person panel and suspend Mr. Beck? I believe that that's probably going to end up being a legal fight, I've talked to both sides. No surprise here. They don't see the law the same way. Reporting live from the federal courthouse, Dale Russell, Fox 5 News.
A lot of questions still hanging out there. We'll stay on top of it. Dale, thanks very much.